or will be watching this, in the replay, welcome, welcome. We always love, of course, to hear your feedback. It's very important for us. And so let me officially welcome you to Live with Marcy and Amy, the Heart-Centered Woman. And today we're talking about stop outsourcing your power. Find safety where it really lives. Your empowerment is your voice, your choice, and your life. So, again, welcome everyone officially. And we'd like to start our show off by just sharing this quote with you. The most common reason we stumble into the delusion of powerlessness is that we're afraid of what other people would do or say or feel if we were to act as we wanted. That's by Martha Beck, one of our favorites. And Amy, I know you have lots of experience when it comes to this. And tell us a little bit about you and what it is that you do in helping people to work through all that.
Yes, hello. Yes, welcome to Live with Marcy and Amy, the Heart Centered Woman Show. We are here every third Thursday of the month, and we are dedicated to women just like you who are really trying to either learn how to navigate this life, or like are thinking about learning how to navigate
Right.
this life, right? Because we are
First step.
different places, from different places. Some of us might be noticing like, this isn't really what I thought it would be, my life. And many of us then start reaching out and wanting to discover what's out there for us and what we might have been missing. And that's where I come in. I come in and really support women in coming back to their authentic self. I say, coming home to self and in a beautiful unfolding. I am the creator of the Radical Embodiment Method, which really brings women back home to their bodies and lets us all really reflect on our beliefs and what might not be actually true for us. And then if that's true, what do we want to replace it with? And so as a coach, that's I'm very practical on that level. And also as a more spiritual connector, I'm also available for that also in my work that I do, because I think having connection to universe, something higher than yourself, is imperative to really letting go of control and perfection and people pleasing, which we're going to be talking about today. And so instead of outsourcing your power to other things, how do we come home to ourselves and empowered, as Marcy and I say, with the IN, not an EM. And yeah, so Marcy, why don't you introduce yourself and let's start this conversation.
Yeah, well, thanks, Ames. And yeah, as I was listening to you, I was realizing just how powerful this work is and what a privilege it is to be doing it. I know just as when we're working with our clients and we know that great transformation is at hand, there's nothing more exciting. And so I hope that that's one of the things that we inspire all of our audience to recognize is the importance, number one, of reaching out for help. And number two, making certain that it's someone who has experience with what it is that you need support with. And so for myself, I know how instrumental that has been for me in becoming the heart shift coach. And this work has been, you might say, marinating or brewing within me for over 50 years. I started out as a spiritualist minister, trained in hands-on healing, mediumship, channeling, and energy medicine, but also as a registered nurse. And so my perspective has really been molded by being a bridge between the world of conventional healing and thinking and metaphysical. So in my work, my work is always to help those who come to me to raise their vibrational frequency so that they start to live from their heart rather than their head, which has done a great job of mucking things up. And so, as heart-centered women, Amy, you and I both know that there just is no comparison to the lives that we live once we make that journey fully into our hearts. And so, of course, my focus then is on cultivating the courage that it takes to really create a self-love lifestyle. And in the creation of it, to also have the courage to live it. So that is a big, big chunk of it as we start to understand really how essential it is um, that we are in this place of truly understanding what is calling to us and how we're meant to answer it. It always requires, 100% requires that we take inspired action. So, with that, Amy, I would love to just jump right in and ask you a couple of questions. Are you ready, girl?
Yeah, of course, I'm ready.
So, you started to talk about this actually with your introduction,
Yeah.
but I want to ask you specifically so that we can clarify things for people. What do you mean when you say women are outsourcing their power? What does that really mean?
Yeah, so it takes many different forms, but we forget just how powerful we are, and our role in society has been diminished by people thinking it's not worthy. Our ability to be loving, our ability to receive, our ability to hold space for nurturing, for our ability to you know have babies if we want to, our ability to be creative and be imaginative and open. And so when we when our original power that we are born with has been diminished by society, or maybe our partners, our parents, we start going outside of ourselves to look for our power. Okay, and this is what happens. This is what we since what who we are is seen as weak, is seen as even the original sin. If you're religious, I'm not, but I know that's part of it too. Like, you're the problem. You're the one who like took the one who was deceitful, and therefore you can't be trusted. And so when our power has been diminished in that manner, the moment that we are conceived, right? We start looking outside for our power. So what does that look like? Finding the perfect partner, the perfect job, find our worth in these things, as if we have to kind of have a reason to be on this earth, like we have to prove ourselves to be worthy, right? And outsourcing our power means, like, we've been programmed to say yes when we want to say no. We've been programmed to give up our hopes and our dreams and our voice and our beliefs, because it might ruffle feathers. And at this point of our life where we're living in now, there's so much agitation, fear, war, attacking people, are attacking people, everything that we're not.
Right.
Right, everything we're not. And then we're looking out and looking at that and saying, I feel helpless. I don't know, I either feel helpless, or we are participating in the anger, which goes, and the fear, which goes totally against our power as women, as being grounded, as being the one who embraces, the one who grounds people. Okay, that's really such a beautiful aspect of woman, right? That has been lost.
Yeah.
Now we're anxiety, fear. Don't do that. All these things that we are not that. We were not put on this earth to be that.
Right.
And so this is an important subject because this is the time now. Now is the time because we're going in, as you know, Marcy, we have been, and now we're going into even more disruption.
That's right.
So feeling your worth, there's nothing, you don't have to prove your worth. You are already worthy, right? This is, we start trying to find our worth through other people, which we are the nurturers. We are the ones who teach others how to be mindful, how to be grateful, how to be heart-centered, right? That's part of that's what we're really good at. We're really good at that,
Yeah.
right? So for me, that's what the outsourcing is about. Like, not coming home to self, not listening, but we'll go into that later. But
Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
yeah. So I'm gonna go with you, Marcy, and ask you, what is the number one reason people give up their power to another? Why is it particularly devastating for women to do this? And is there ever a good time to do it?
So first off, Amy, everything that you just talked about is a perfect segue into this. And so, um, the question about why people give up their power is mostly because they don't realize they have it.
Yeah, I
They
think
don't
so.
even realize that they have this inner power. And what is it that I mean by inner power? You are a creator. You are a creator. So, all that you need to create, to actually bring into materialization your heart's desires is already within you. It seems completely foreign because you haven't been taught, number one, that you have it. Like Amy said, you've been taught that it's outside of you. You have to go to others to get it. But did you ever wonder where they got theirs? Right? So, here's the point. It's in each and every one of us because each of us is designed to be creators right here, right now. So that's number one. And this is, you and I, Amy, talk about radical acceptance all the time. We have to radically accept we are creators. This is the invitation right now. We've got to stop, pretending to be all these other things and pretending that we need to be governed, that we need to be told what to do or how to do things or who to be, what to eat, how to dress, all that stuff. We have to just get beyond it. And then the second thing is that we have to start to recognize that in having this power, it means that there is a responsibility, right? So, what is the responsibility? The responsibility, particularly as women, is to bring the frequency of energies to the world that are specific for us. So, if we're looking, as has happened in the patriarchal world, looking for the male to guide and lead us, we are totally abdicating our power that has its own frequency. Our frequency is of the divine feminine. Things cannot be created without it. It can't be. You can't create just from male energy. There must be an integration, a merging of the energy. And so not only are we abdicating power, we're abdicating our responsibility to be creating, utilizing our divine feminine energy. And we can see the mess that the world is in. And it's because that whole concept not only has been distorted, it's actually been camouflaged. We've been not even taught that that exists or that that's necessary. And so we have to come back um, to recognizing how essential we are. So, the last part of your question about is there ever a good time to do it? You know, Ames, this is one of those paradoxes, right, of life. Because the truth is, on one hand, I can say to you, no, you never ever want to give up your power. And yet, when we recognize that some of that power is actualized when we surrender, right, to the greater power that we're part of, we get to experience that on a completely different level. So, what is the nuance there? What's the difference? The difference is that we're not meant, under any circumstance, to give our power over to another human, right? We're meant to integrate male and female energies so that we can create and bring to materialization that which is the highest good for all, so that we all have everything that we want and need and our heart's desire. We're not meant to acquiesce that power and to give it away so that someone else has the ability to control us. And so that's really important. And there's a huge difference. That is the nuance. When we talk about giving over or surrendering our power to the source energy, we're actually merging with all the power of the universe. So now we're really empowered, but it takes the surrender. And what is the surrender? It's the need to control, or the belief that we have to control another or a situation in order to have what it is that we desire. And again, this is like one of those paradoxes where we get to expand out of wherever we've been before in our beliefs and start to understand and integrate the real workings of the universe. That's the power. And the power also of surrender. Yeah. So we want to surrender our need to control and be controlled. That's huge. All right, Ames, I'm coming back to you because you often talk about safety not being out there, but being inside of us. So, what does true safety mean?
Yeah. So, you know, I think I can't speak for men because, but I think for women's safety is a big issue.
Yeah, for sure.
It is a huge issue for us. Okay. And unfortunately, we've been told our safety will come under these umbrellas of a job, of a partnership, of a
Right.
marriage, of a friendship, whatever it is. And so we have these, this is where we acquiesce our power, thinking, oh, like some women, oh, I'll marry this person because they are stable. They'll provide a stable environment for me to live in. And so, and really wholeheartedly believing that that's going to happen. Okay. And then are under this partnership, and all of a sudden it ain't so safe because
Yeah,
we relinquished our power thinking we're going to get our safety from someone else.
right.
Okay. And it might even come in the terms of a job where we think, we're going to do that. So we, we, it's important for us to take responsibility for our decisions and our actions and our beliefs, right? If we don't like take responsibility and recognize that this is happening out in the world and has happened, either to us or our friends or whoever, it's like we will never, this is where the radical acceptance comes in, we will never really be true to ourselves. And that's part of coming home to self, is to really
Yeah.
understand what's true for us. So this is a very beautiful unfolding for us. Number one, to take responsibility for our past and saying, wow, that really doesn't work. And what did I actually relinquish while I thought I was going to go into this safe world?
Right.
And so, and I don't want to get into the whole relationship dynamics when you overly depend on someone, which is not fair, right? But I don't want
Right.
to get into that. It's like this
We'll
is
do
so
that another show.
this is like so multi-layered, right? So the idea that we must let go, like Marcy said, and this is a very beautiful lesson in how to bring safety and the value of safety home to self in our own bodies.
Yeah.
And a lot of the safety comes with acceptance and letting go. It's not about fixing or changing or trying to manipulate. And the thing about it is that that is where the power actually lives. Because once you go into acceptance about a situation, there is actually peace. And if you want safety, peace is one of the core values of safety. You must be in a place of peace to feel safe. You can't be in a place of peace and not feel safe.
Right.
Right. You have to like, and when I say peace, peace is an embodiment. It is a relaxation. It is a calmness of your anxiety and your fear. It is a place of ease and flow. Okay. And that can only come through letting go.
Yeah.
Right. And I live this all the time because, as being an entrepreneur, as being a coach, as being an artist, as being someone who's out there dating, living life, doing these things. Imagine if I just how much energy it would take to try to control all that. So I felt safe. It doesn't work. What
Yeah.
works is like processing, letting go, accepting, releasing. Because if I don't feel safe, then everything is skewed.
Right.
And the only safety I can feel is inside of me and my own abilities to persevere, to be resilient, to learn, to grow. All of these things bring a sense of safety of self. Instead of trying to chase someone in a relationship, I go home to self and say, you know what? It's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I need to say what I need to say, release it, and sit with self. They either come back or they don't. That's not my problem. Right? What I need is to feel my own sense of safety and peace and my own voice being heard authentically to me.
Yeah.
I'm following it. And when I say this, I'm not following it perfectly because that's just a whole outside approval thing. I am pursuing it, learning and growing. So part of our responsibility as women, and I can't speak for men, but maybe they go through this also, is that I must know that there's no such thing as safety outside of myself.
That's right.
The only safety I have is with self.
Well said. Yeah.
And so I do want to also say one thing is like, yeah, I did not realize I was living in I didn't understand it until I was like 32. We're going through life like was Marcy was talking about earlier, like you don't know what you don't know, which is why this work is very important. So you could start asking questions, digging, just being easy with self. And that's why we're here to help you really support you in that. We also do our workshop once after the show, which we're going to talk about a little bit. and that will help you dive deeper and start bringing up the layers, unfolding them. Okay, so you know, we are taught at such an early age to look to others for validation, our sense of worth, and even direction, like what choices we should make. How does coaching differ and why is it encouraged? How does
Yeah. So just a one quick point about what you were saying about the surrender and peace that's required in order to feel safe. I had an interesting situation just last week. I was in Germany and I stayed at a hotel near the airport because I had a very early flight. And the airport was a 3-minute walk from the hotel. And initially, I just thought, okay, not really sure what that means, but I'll just get a cab. And then as the day went on, I said, actually, no. I'm either going to embrace my safety or I'm giving up my power to be safe. So it's so interesting that I was actually living this as we were preparing for this talk today. And, of course, you don't put yourself in situations that you know are dangerous, but so important to claim for ourselves what's going to happen in our own lives. And that's why coaching is so important because we are programmed. We must accept it. We are programmed to, and we've been talking about it since we started the program today about how we are taught to look outside of ourselves for everything. And I know for myself, and Amy, you might have had this situation, but when I'm speaking to a client and they ask me the question, well, if you're wanting me to come inside to get the information that I need, why am I speaking to you? And here's the answer, such an important distinction. And that is because sometimes we need to borrow another's eyes in order to see things as they truly are while we are reprogramming ourselves. And the other thing that coaching does is not only will it help to create that path so that then, because you've lost contact with your ability to go inside, whether you realize it or not. And so when you reestablish that pathway, what you're actually doing is reestablishing your ability to communicate with your higher self. And this is why coaching can be absolutely essential for people's lives. And I don't say that lightly. I know, again, speaking from my own experience, what I've um, discovered with the coaching that I got and the coaching that I help others to do is that because we've lost touch with ourselves, what is important is to reconnect those pathways, but most important, to reestablish that language, that communication with the higher self, because it's only there where we then have the ability to discern. And discernment is absolutely essential in order to navigate the world that we're living in. We are constantly being bombarded with so much information, disinformation, information that's completely fabrication. I mean, you name it. We're just getting piled on daily, constantly. And somehow we have to make our way out of that and say, okay, what's best for me? And that's discernment. That's so important. So it's the one thing that I have found with coaching that has really come to my realization about what's so important with the work that I do, with the work that you do, and the other coaches, that are out in the world. And so as we go, sort of wide-eyed into this journey of rediscovering self, reclaiming ourselves, what we're also doing is remembering who we truly are. We are divine creators. We are connected to a source of energy that never falters. And the only faltering that we ever experience is when we ourselves separate from it. And so, this level of discernment that we are talking about is one, again, can only be established once you are in this energy of willingness to let go of the beliefs that have kept you separate and the willingness to sort of relearn how to walk, right? That happens. We've had accidents and our bodies get disconnected, all the pathways get disconnected, and we have to reteach it, right? To walk. This is the same thing. We're reteaching, reawakening, reclaiming, and of course, finally realizing who we truly are. So it's an amazing time to be alive, that's for sure. Amy, tell me something. How do cultural expectations, like being the good girl, train women to give away their power?
Yes, thank you. I also want to add to your comment on your section, which was, sometimes we are so deep in our own thoughts, beliefs, and feelings, we cannot see outside of it. And
That's right.
that's what a coach helps you do, right? A coach really helps you see what other possibilities there are for you out there. And I mean, we've all been there when we've been so downtrodden and we can't even see what's next. And so we always respect where people are in their journey.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to put that out there too, that, sometimes we cannot see, or because we're in this feeling. And in my own life, I didn't even know I had a, like, I mean,
Right.
I didn't even know that was an option. Okay. But thank God I found my
That's
group.
right. I saw the light.
But not by myself. It was in a group. I mean,
Of course.
I would have just gone like throughout life.
That's
Whatever.
right.
Okay.
We borrow each other's eyes when
Yeah.
necessary.
All right. So the good girl. Oh my gosh. The people pleasing, the staying silent, not to like ruffle any feathers, to dress a certain way so we're accepted, to have a certain level of decorum so we don't upset anyone. This is exhausting. I mean,
Yeah.
this is so goes against our authentic self.
Right.
And I'm just going to tell you some stories. People sometimes in my relationship, it's like, oh, you're a coach, you should da 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 da. I'm like, wait, I'm a human being with like
right.
lots of emotions and thoughts and ideas. And I'm not going to be a good girl for you by being this coach and this put myself in this perfect position. Because if you ever think in life that people don't get pissed off, you're not living in reality.
Right.
And this is part of the acceptance of self and acceptance of others. I'm allowed to get pissed off. I'm allowed it. Like, to me, not to allow that is unnatural. Right. And I'm allowed to be very loving and funny and hopeful. Right. And so those people trying to put me in this good girl box is what they were trying to do. Right. And so we must all know that we've been programmed to, and this goes for men also. And I was talking to someone last night about it, like, men not being allowed to have their emotions, women not being allowed to express their emotions, and somehow emotions and are demons, like they're so bad. I'm like, no, emotions are good. They're supposed to come to us and leave. Come to us, we process, and then they go. Okay. Somehow, because we're not allowed to have our emotions and we have to be good girls, what happens? They come in and they stay. Like, they stay unexpressed. Okay. Then that unexpression is in our body over and over and over, suppression, suppression, suppression. And then we either get sick, we become depressive, or we get very angry. Okay. Because emotions are natural. They are the good girl look is not real. What really happens is that we feel happy, we
Yeah.
feel angry, we feel lonely, we feel hopeful, we feel excited, we feel all of these things, you know, and somehow our authentic self is needs to be tamed. People need to tame our ourselves. I'm like, I don't know. It's exhausting. I have no time for that. If I laugh out loud, I laugh out loud. If I cry, I cry. If I get mad, I get mad. This is how we as women have to, and men also, because there's nothing worse than a man who's not able to express his emotion. No woman wants that. Like men are only allowed to express anger or shut down. That we don't want that. We
Right.
want we want everyone to be authentic with themselves, with their emotions, and to be really true to what's happening, because we have an emotion, it comes in, we're supposed to again feel it and release it. But what happens, and I think this is men and women, I think this is universal. It comes in and it stays. And then resentment builds up, anger builds up, regret builds up, not feeling heard, not feeling seen, not feeling appreciated, not feeling real. So the good girl training starts very early. And, I'm just not a fan of it. And I'm very happy to point out I'm not here to be perfect for you. I'm not here to perfectly express myself all the time. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to express, right? To feel what I feel and have me knowing I'm not an irrational person. I know that much. I've done a lot of work on myself. So if I do have a feeling or a belief or an emotion, I know that it's pretty authentic to how that's going against what I want or desire, right?
Sure.
So feeling resentful, feeling guilty, feeling like you want to just be liked, so you're just going to shape change and do what it takes to get them to like you. Oh, forget that. Late. I mean, that's why you marry, you get married and the man is like, who is this woman I married? This is not the person I married.
Mhm.
Because we are very famous for that, for really shape changing and trying to be the good girl and trying to do everything nice. But that's not real. That's not real. So
No.
we need to take, as I say, as women, we need to take responsibility for how we've been trained and then how to undo that training. Undo it, undo it, undo it. All right. With that, Marcy,
Yes.
so what is the one most dangerous energy that is the result of giving your power away? How does it affect how you live? This is going to be
Mm,
good.
great question. So you actually touched on this earlier on, Amy, when you talked about the helplessness that we experience when we have given our power away. And the helplessness does nothing but take us into a downward spiral, which takes us further and further away from the truth of our being. And so what happens? There's only one place to go, and that is victimization. When we believe ourselves to be helpless, don't have a choice in things, we become victims because we are caught in this inner war between what we know is our truth, but is not accessible from us or for us, and the energy of this helplessness that we're trying to fit into, which doesn't work. And so what happens is that war of energies, energy, it's like War of the Worlds, right? We become victims We open ourselves up as helpless beings. Again, now we've amplified the energy of needing something from outside of us if we believe ourselves to be helpless. We must become victims because that's the only way it's satiated. And so, victimization, of course, never leads to anything good, that's for sure, and takes us further and further away from the empowerment. And what happens is it actually creates the lens that we look through. So we go through every single experience and we are creating, because we're creators, we are creating more and more opportunity to experience a personification of the helplessness and create the opening to become victims. It's ugly. It is absolutely ugly. And one of the most powerful things that we can do is to create this awareness of when we're in that energy, particularly of feeling helpless. And again, people get confused. They think, oh, if, you know, is helpless not knowing how to do something? No, that's not being helpless. Not knowing how to do something is something we've all experienced, right? We often need to be taught how to do something. Amy, you know that. You're teaching me something on the computer all the time. But I'm not helpless. I have this capacity, and we all have this capacity that in our learning, the reawakening of our truth, that we also are empowered along the way. But when we allow it to be confused, the energy to actually become dense, where we feel helpless and we forget that we have this inner power, we set ourselves up for disaster, absolute disaster. And, I think we're going to be talking more about this with our workshop next week on Tuesday. And I'm thinking, Amy, it's a good time for us to talk about what that workshop is going to be about, the opportunities that people have when they come into it. And of course, we have some great bonus gifts besides. So I'm going to put that link in the chat. And if you just want to tell everybody what some of those bonuses are for signing up. But I think first off, I just want to say anybody who, watches our shows know that what Amy and I deliver, I'm sorry, second to none. We come in, we give you the processes, like Amy said, not to just pull back those layers, but to actually make a difference in your lives. And that's what the workshop is all about, filled with ritual and opportunity, again, to create the awareness that we're talking about. Amy, can you talk about those bonuses? Can you imagine you're getting gifts just for showing up? Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say also, because it is it's not like you get a PDF. It's an
Experiential.
experiential experience, so that when you go to the replay, you can watch it over and over and go through the practices that we go through, because we do practices within every workshop. You also get the Forgive to Live online course by Marcy. Marcy is very good at the heart shifting and forgiveness, and really, I think a lot of us need to let go of guilt and regret, like I said, that we hold on to. We have to forgive ourselves and really to allow us to embrace a new future, so we're not feeling helpless. These got radiant reflections meditations from me. These come with it's a meditation, plus it's also you have a weekly challenge. You've got 3 tips within the each meditation, and this is tailored, for women. And also the replay of this show, and also the workshop you get, and within that workshop, you get access to the replay all the time. And that's just all for $47, which is the Healed Feminine VIP bundle, which is what we're calling it. And because it's
Right.
really about healing the feminine aspect of self and embracing our gifts as women, right? And to not feel guilty for being a woman. I mean, and not feel like bad for who we are. It's
Right.
like, you know,
And also, I just want to mention the men that have come into the
yeah, yeah,
workshops have gotten so much out of it because it's all about also, igniting the divine feminine within the male energy
yeah.
and for us to ignite the divine male within ours. And so that's really what we're striving for. And I also want to mention it's 90 minutes of live workshop with Amy and I. It's really amazing. So,
Yes. And
anything
it's
else you want
not
to say
just
about that, Aim? Or
yeah, I just, it's not just information based that your head takes in. It's an embodiment based, which
that's right.
uh that's my gig, embodiment, and that's Marcy's gig too. You got to go inward. So it is an embodiment experience.
Yeah. And speaking of embodiment, what role does that play when we are reclaiming our power?
My God, this is so good. Look, we as women have been trained to just go to the head, go to the head, go to the head is the best. Your thoughts are the best. Well, as we have learned throughout the years, and if you're following embodiment and if you're following how thoughts can really F your whole life up, right? Your thoughts could really put you in bad situations. Your thoughts could keep you stuck. Your thoughts could keep you in fear. Your thoughts could keep you playing small. So thoughts aren't that great. Okay. And I don't know about you, as a victim of thoughts, right? Me as a victim of thoughts, my body has always known different, right? My body has the yearning to do something. Then my thoughts come in, oh, it's not the right time. Oh, no one's going to accept that. Oh, they won't like you. Oh, you don't have enough money for that. You don't have enough resources for that. But the body is relentless in its yearning. And we all know this. I would love to find a partner. That is a yearning that lives in our body. Our mind says, oh, there's no good guys out there. It's too hard. The dating apps suck, blah, 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 blah. But our body will not stop. It will speak to us, yearn for us. And so embodiment is so important for us as women to embrace the embodiment. That's where the reflection comes in and say, what is my body actually asking me to do? What is it yearning for? What is it the thing I feel right here in my heart and like this pull that I have? What is it asking me of? And so women too have been told that, we're not skinny enough, we're not fat enough, we're not pretty enough, we don't have this, we don't have that. We can't wear this, we can't wear that. So the embodiment means that we must reconcile, create peace, and love ourselves.
That's right.
This is what embodiment is asking us to do. And so when we outsource our power, letting other people define us and our beauty, right? This is where the disconnect of self lives. And so the embodiment, when you embrace the body as the truth teller, as the one who is on your side, is the one who's your cheerleader. Your mind is the one who will F you up. Okay. It will tell you all these lies, but your body will be the yearning force inside of you. So people think, I don't know what people think. I'm an embodied person. I don't know if you could tell. I'm always moving. I'm always like I feel it when people talk to me, it goes straight in. I'm like, oh, what's that feeling behind? Like, I don't even hear their words half the time. A lot of times I'm like, I don't know what they're saying, but I know what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Right. And so um, that means that we have to heal the wounds that live in our body, heal the transgressions that have been done to us on our body, and to also embrace the value of who we are and our body. You can't be like, I'm so valuable because I'm so smart. The intellect is like, I'm so smart. There's my value. No, the value lives in your body. It's where your emotions live. It's where your heart lives. It's where your soul. It's like this embodiment is this knowing of, it's where you can ground. You can't ground, like, how do you ground in your head? I don't know.
Not possible.
Not possible. You have to ground in your body and stand still, shoulders back, and like, yes, this is who I am. Fucking love it. I love it. And so, if you feel numb, many of us feel numb and shut down, that will live in our body. We have a shield here. I don't want anyone to see who I really am. There's a actual physical shield that we can feel when we tune into our body, that we need to let go of. Many of us wake with fear and anxiety in our body, and instead of reconciling that in that moment, we just rush off and take our head, like we just power through our head. We're just gonna get this, that. And we don't ever reconcile and have a conversation with our body. And so embodiment is very, very important to women who want to really stop outsourcing their power to other people, other things. If you want to stop feeling anxious and fearful, you must go to the body. You must. So, that's my spiel
Yeah.
on embodiment. I think, unfortunately, we've been trained not to listen to our body, and, even, nutrition, health. I mean, just putting junk in our body is like normal for many. It's time to make body number one. Body number one. Okay. And not in the diet way. All right. All right. So is it ever really possible to reclaim yourself? And if so, what can a person expect in the process?
Well, to tell you the truth, I mean, process really says it all, right? The reclaiming of ourselves is always a process. We never quite achieve completion. And the reason for that is that we are still living in physical bodies and still have a mind that's 97% controlled by the ego. So the ego, remember, its worst nightmare is that you remember who you actually are, that you are this divine creator. So it's always like, dit, 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 right? Sort of chipping away at you. And so what happens is when we develop this awareness, this discernment that I spoke about earlier, we give ourselves the opportunity to live from a place where the lens that we are looking through is then able to reflect back to us where we are out of alignment. Now, as Amy said, once you're really back into that energy flow, you're going to feel it. And in fact, a lot of times that can be the first symptom that we'll have. But we also have this ability to be accountable, right? To look around us and say, you know what, that didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. And rather than blaming, shaming, pointed that finger out at somebody else, we start to recognize, oh, must be I need to tweak my energy in some way. This is how we reclaim ourselves, because in truth, we're reclaiming our power. We are enabling ourselves to come back into our power where that ability is. The ability to simply tweak our own energy. That's the power that we're talking about. Like Amy said, does it mean that you're never going to be off course? No, we're human. And, when we're in these periods of experiencing human life in a very intense way, it can feel very challenging. And also, that's where fear then starts to seep in. And so the reclaiming, I just want everyone to, number one, have some compassion for yourself, please. All right. You are this divine creator, but you're here to have this very human experience. And so have it without forgetting that you're the divine creator you came here to be. So, number one, have compassion for yourself. Number two, if it means that you need to, remind yourself constantly about your truth, do it. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you because you have to do that. It just means that you love yourself enough to support yourself in the process. Again, you will always be in process, but that process with a level of discernment and conscious awareness is how you reclaim all of your power. It's how you come back into alignment with remembering that you have the ability to change course, to create a different type of experience, or stay where you are. It's your choice. There's no judgment. There are no conditions placed upon your ability to have awareness or discernment. But your happiness, of course, does depend on your willingness to make a change. And when you have that courage that takes, you start to recognize, wow, this is what they've been talking about. This is a power that's already within me. The power to create the experience of my life as I want to live it, the power to change course, the power to love myself enough to recognize when that's necessary, what's for my highest good, and the power to be in communication with your higher self, where all this information comes from. That's a pretty powerful being. While we're here on this earth, we also are here to share our experiences with others. And it's that sharing that only can happen when we develop that awareness of what we have experienced and how we have improved the situation. So think for a moment how much of your life, has been enhanced by somebody else sharing their experience. I know here, Amy and I, often share our personal experiences, and people have incredible breakthroughs. I remember once we had one of our guest speakers have a breakthrough right on the show, right? That's the power of it. That's our power. But it requires that we have this conscious awareness and the knowingness about how essential we are to each other. We are not meant to live separate lives. We are meant to love ourselves enough to be loved by another and to be courageous enough to love. And to love, again, no judgment or conditions or expectations, but to recognize we're all in this together. And I think that that's probably one of the most important messages we have when it comes to reclaiming our power. Our power comes from recognizing that our oneness really depends on our ability to be happy and to be healthy and to be whole. And so that's my message.
for that, Marcy. I think the oneness and being in this together is very important because that's one of our fortes as women
Yeah,
is community and conversation and
that's right.
gathering. That's one of our things. And now, we don't see it as much anymore sometimes, So it's if you're good at it, do it. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. If
And
that's what you want, do it.
that's right. It's also why Amy and I do our workshops. We are
Mm-hmm.
creating a community of intimacy there. The people who show up for our workshops or who get the replays are part of our community. We're like hearts and like
Yeah.
minds, and we speak freely. We share from our hearts. We're not afraid to share our experiences because we know that it is also empowering for others to hear it and to know
Mm-hmm.
what's possible. We have unlimited potential, limitless possibilities. And when it's reflected back to us, we remember who we are.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
All right, we hit our time. It's 11:01. So yeah, join us for our workshop on
Tuesday, the
August
26th.
August 26th,
Hmm.
2025, just in case.
Yeah,
And the link is in the chat. So you also receive the replay and free gifts from Marcy and I in the email. So look out for that on the
that's right.
replay email. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you inside of the workshop and of
Yeah.
course next month.
Thank you.
All
And
right.
of course, if you have any comments or any ahas that you've gotten from the show, or, just want to give us some kudos, please feel free. We love that. We love to know that we're appreciated. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. And thanks for being here and for all of you who'll be listening on the replay.
And if you're watching the replay, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
yeah, subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you can grab great content off of. And we will see you next month.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a
Bye bye.
great day, everyone. Bye.
Bye bye. All right. Let me get this. Yeah.